Hello, this is Sherman Goldenberg, RV Business with Greg Four, also of RV Business, and well-known industry supplier Jason Lippert. And we're doing a Capital Talk interview today because of the timeliness of their release yesterday of their first quarter 2021 financials, which by anyone's measure, and I'm not just saying spectacular things, they were unbelievably good. I'll say that.
No, thank you very much.
Stunning. And your best numbers ever, right, Jason?
Yeah. Our teams are working incredibly hard to get those results. As you guys know, the demand is off the charts. So we've been fortunate enough to be able to keep our supply chain and labor moving in the right direction so that we can keep the industry pumped with product and not slow them down.
Is that your first $1 billion quarter?
It is our first $1 billion quarter by a long shot. So, it's a combination of, some significant organic growth with some good acquisitions we made over the last couple of years that keep nudging our numbers up. But yeah, it's our record.
Putting you, you had said previously you could see $4 billion year, conceivably in the future. That's where you're at now, conceivably, right?
Yeah, considering the next two quarters are, typically the industry's strongest two quarters. And, 50% of our business is outside of RV today. So, it depends on what those other markets do. But the other markets and industries that we're in are doing very well right now as well.
Can you key on certain areas that you believe have boosted your numbers most?
Yeah, so certainly, the RV OEM space, we continue to organically grow our existing product lines, grow our market shares, continue to innovate new products. Then we acquire new products in the RV space. So, like I said earlier, that accounts for about 50% of our business, and that's growing really strong. I think we showed 52% up year over year in our results. And then, you look at marine, you look at aftermarket, which is growing at a significant pace. Our European business is growing at a significant pace. 600,000 or 700,000, trailers built a year, where we supply a lot of doors and windows and suspensions to those product categories. So, literally every business that we're in is doing really well. So it doesn't look like there's any end in sight, at least in the next, year to 2 years.
Here again, almost, and I'll use this word, schizophrenic, where we're coming off 14 months of a global viral situation here, pandemic, yet these numbers are unprecedented. And it's again, I guess I'll use that word schizophrenic. It's like we're going back and forth. And what are your thoughts about how this best case scenario could play out?
So, there's a lot of different variables going on. I think that, COVID, it's pushed a lot of people toward the industry. There's a lot of people that just, won't travel through traditional methods. And that's pushed a lot of people into RVing, which is great because we'll keep a lot of those people over the long term. And we're just looking at rates right now. I mentioned on our call the other day that, through 4 months of actual plus 8 months of where we feel the run rate is, it's looking like a $580,000 or 80,000 unit number. If you take last month's run rates that we experienced, and just the RV side, we're looking at over a 600,000 unit run rate if we continue that pace for 12 months. And I just don't see any end in sight. I mean, outdoors is in heavy popularity. We've got the peer-to-peer rental platforms cranking on all cylinders. We have just a lot of people checking out alternative methods for vacations, and RV comes up, top of everybody's list when they're doing those searches. So like I said, I think that we've got, who knows when it'll slow down. It'll have to slow down at some point in time, but I think we're seeing certainly maybe a more permanent move in terms of the number of units that we're going to be seeing on an annualized basis for the foreseeable future.
The you and I were talking the other day, and you had singled out in your mind one area of your company that you really felt deserved special attention, special mention. That was your chassis, towable chassis people. You had said that they had performed consistently throughout the dregs of the pandemic, and kept in many ways some manufacturers moving. Your comments on that?
Yeah. Well, chassis, as I tell those guys all the time, it hold a special place in my heart because that's where I cut my teeth. I started welding in the 90s and in that division when we started the RV business up. And I know how hard that work is. It's arguably some of the hardest work in the industry when you're talking about, throwing steel around all day and welding parts together and, just the heavy, incredibly tough work that is being under the helmet in that environment all day long. And really, we're the largest supplier in the industry, and if industry doesn't get its chassis, the industry doesn't experience record numbers. So our towable chassis team has done an incredible job across the country, especially here in Elkhart County, where the volume is extremely high, keeping up with the demand. And to my knowledge, we haven't let any of our customers down on the towable chassis side of our business in the last 12 months. And on top of that, we've had to take on some additional market share where competition was falling down a little bit, and we had to, help keep other people going that weren't our traditional customers.
Aftermarket, this would be another area I think that would be on your list of high performers right now, correct?
Yeah, and we talked a lot about that in the call. Record number of units coming into the replacement cycle in the coming years, especially when you talk about 500,000 units a year retail year after year. If that's what continues to happen, we're talking about millions of units that'll be in the replacement cycle over the next few years. And from a service and parts and repairs standpoint, we're front and center because we supply so many components to the OEMs that are ultimately going to need some kind of light or heavy repair work down the road. So we love the aftermarket business from that standpoint, but a lot of used RVs being sold as well, and a lot of people want to replace mattresses and furniture and just fix the units up for the things that need repaired so that they can use them as they want. And we're usually top of the list when it comes to those upgrades.
I think we've basically covered the waterfront, and I guess one thing I wanted to go back on just a tad is, how you see this playing out. This, you've already said it could be a whole new level for the industry in general.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think, COVID, for the right or wrong reasons, forced a lot of people to try the lifestyle. And, the industry leaders have been talking about, getting more people in RVs over the last, 10 years. That's what Go RVing is all about. I mean, we've been spending a lot of money trying to get people there. And my family was one. I mean, we took some overnights in RVs. It just wasn't something that was high on my spouse's list to go and spend 3 or 4 nights in a campground. But that's the only way she would travel this summer. And I think a lot of families, experience the same. And when we got to the campgrounds and, spend, a week and a half on the road with the kids, it was an unbelievable experience. And, something we wouldn't have tried if we weren't kind of pushed into it when it comes to doing it over. So, we've taken 4, long weekend trips since then. And it's something that, our kids look forward to, we look forward to. And I think it's just something that the population that's getting, moving into it and trying it, even if, through the peer-to-peer rental standpoint, I think that once you're in it, there's probably a 70% likelihood that you get hooked, right? Which means go back for the next one, or you go and buy one, or you upgrade and get a bigger one, which is, you know, what we've seen traditionally with people that intentionally get into the lifestyle. So, you know, I think it's, like I said, I think COVID's pushed a lot of people there that might not have otherwise have gone there, but, you know, we're going to keep a lot of those people and families in the lifestyle over the long term.
I think we're done. I'll add this. You know, I talked to some guys. They say normalcy. That seems to be the word that a lot of people are looking for a return to. Some say, and that goes for inventories and production and supply chain and everything else. And some of them say, well, you know, maybe yet this year. Some say 22. You know, and some say 23. What do you think?
So in terms, when you say normalcy, in terms of industry type run rates, are you talking about, you know,
All that.
Yeah. So for me, I think that, again, we've had such a big push of first timers into the lifestyle that we're just going to keep a lot of those. So we kind of jump up a level. You look since 2001, and we've had all these different events that, you know, push people into the lifestyle one way or the other. And we're just got another shot in the arm here where, you know, I think the level, you know, sticks at a higher level going forward. And, you know, yeah, we might hit, you know, 75,000 this year. We might be a little more next year. We might be a little less, but I think that there's enough new people in the lifestyle that have tried RVing and are going to continue to RV that, you know, we're not going to settle at historical run rates that we've seen over the last 5 or so years. So I think I'm optimistic about it. I think it's going to be, you know, kind of the new normal is going to be a 500,000 plus type run rate for the industry.
All right. You know, I can't thank you enough for your time.
Thanks for having me.
And, you know, look forward to seeing you down the road here.
Thanks, Sharon.
You take care.
Take care.